nice. So how was your week this week? Any new issues come up?
Well, this week I guess one of the things I noticed was with the nicer weather, and this is something I've noticed as I get older. Um, I definitely have a tendency to obsess about the simple yard work and
Mm-hmm.
um, how the house looks from the exterior, and I'll definitely obsess about the way it looks, and I'll feel the need to, make it look picture perfect, and I'll focus on that. And with work, work can be stressful enough as it is, as I told you before,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I'm coupling those two things together, it gets really um, stressful for me, and I get very anxious about trying to make everything fall into place, with that, and of course with my family and everything. And
Has the change in the weather and being more obsessive, does that kind of go hand in hand, you'd say? Because you don't really obsess. Do you obsess about, I guess, the yard in the wintertime? You don't really kind of, is it more like
yeah, no,
obsessive?
definitely with the weather, I don't really. It's almost like in the winter time you get kind of, at least for myself, you get a break because you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to think about it, and I can focus more on other things. And but when that time of year comes, it seems and I've noticed that over the last few years, I almost get anxious about, everybody gets happy when the weather's going to be real nice, and so do I. I like the warm weather, but then I know that there's going to be that side of me that's going to want to, do that extra yard work, and it becomes very, I become very obsessive about it, and I'm sure it's, um, getting in the way of other things, but
Do you think kind of like your OCD shifts a little? Like, because this isn't something, it's almost like something that you're obsessive about in a certain season. So do you like obsess with something else throughout the rest of the year? Because OCD kind of like comes out in different ways.
yeah, right, because it's something that I think it's a way I actually cope with things.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, on the other side, in the wintertime, maybe again more with work and maybe other inside projects and all.
So you don't really obsess too much about the inside, or is it kind of, do you like everything to be picture perfect, or just the outdoor stuff?
A little bit on the inside, but definitely for some reason on the outside. And maybe it's one of those things that it's a prideful thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
know people can see the outside of the house, so I'll definitely want to make sure. And I think a lot of people do that. I look around, I see people in their yards this time of year, and
Mm-hmm.
you can tell that they're going a little crazy trying to get everything perfect and all. Um, but it's good in a way because it gives me some exercise and all. I try to look at it like that, you know. But I definitely can find myself, and my wife can definitely find me focusing on it a little bit too much,
Okay.
and it gets in the way of like family events and that type of thing.
So, like, say you would miss a week of doing stuff in the yard, would you feel like anxiety because
Yeah,
of it? Or
definitely.
maybe like, because I mean, a lot of times when people skip their OCD type of tendencies, they usually get a lot of anxiety from it. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you can kind of tell if it bothers you a lot, if like it really, if you couldn't go like a weekend without doing yard work when it's nice.
yeah. Even if we go on vacation, I'll want to get everything done before we go, and I know people do that, especially going on vacation. You want to get everything in
Mm-hmm.
order, but sometimes my priorities aren't, really focusing on what I should be with the vacation. It might be like doing stuff around the yard and that kind of stuff. So I know that when I leave, things will be decent and look good, and then less to do when I get back. But yeah, I can even find myself going on vacation and being anxious about that, and knowing I have to come back and do all that, and it's just going to be a.
Do you kind of make mental lists, kind of, that you like to keep track of for each week, or do you do kind of the same routine? Like, not, I mean, the same routine, kind of, or is it always just a new thing you want to get done that week?
Um, it's a lot of the same thing, week after week. Like, of course, the grass
Mm-hmm.
grows, and you got to cut the grass, and you got to do that, and that's a big thing. And
Mhm.
You know, I want that to look good, and so I'll definitely focus on that. But then there'll be other things that I know that I neglected in the wintertime, and now it's summertime, and I want to get it done. And even though we have many months in the summertime, I'll get myself anxious, and you know, that I feel almost like I have a limited amount of time. Um, but in reality, I have several months, so I really don't have to get that anxious. But for some reason, I have to get it done. And
How much time do you think you would say you work on yard work per weekend, or is it
probably,
during the summertime?
yeah, during the summertime,
Yeah.
probably, at least half the time, if not more, I would say.
And then are you working the other half, or what
The
are you
other half,
doing?
yeah, doing regular for my job,
'Cause, yeah.
or going out with family and that type of thing.
Does your getting into yard work too long kind of affect your plans or family life? Like, if you don't finish, do you feel like you can't go and do what you want to do, I guess?
Yeah, I almost feel like I have to get it done,
Mhm.
and I don't like to leave things, unfinished. Although, back to, with my job, I'm getting better about that, being able to put it down and know that I'll be able to get back to it and do it. But then there are certain things that I do, even with my job or yard work, that I feel like I have to get it done. Even though I know the next day I could probably get it done just fine, but it's almost like a
You don't
little,
want to put it off.
yeah, I don't want to put it off,
Mhm.
and I almost feel like I'm like letting myself down that I
Mhm.
didn't get it done. I almost feel that, not like a failure, but but it's. Yeah.
Do you find like you're the same way with yard work as you are work, or like kind of like, are you perfectionist with both of them? Or?
Yeah, I'd say so. But yeah, I guess they're both kind of the same, but a little different. Yeah.
Now, do you get obsessive about anything else, or is that, like, do you have any other tendencies that you feel like possibly show up?
Yeah, I mean, those seem to be the two big things for me, because they seem to take a lot of my time. But it usually seems to be projects or work, or at least for myself, that seems to be my biggest things and all. Like, some people might obsess about like golfing or something like that, which I've done that in the past, and I enjoyed that. And yes, I did get obsessive about that, but as I get older, I feel like I have responsibilities, and taking care of the house, taking care of work, and but if I wouldn't have that, maybe I would focus on or obsess about something like golf. I could see myself doing that if I got into it enough, but
so as like the times change, like you get obsessive about something else, like do you remember being obsessive about anything else when you were a kid, like, or do you just find that you're obsessive before it was golf? Or
yeah, like as a kid, whatever kid things or bikes or something. Yeah, I could see being obsessive about
but nothing you can kind of like remember like you can like now, or like maybe in high school or college, or
yeah,
like some people can be like obsessive about grades and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got obsessive about grades, and it just getting the job done and all, having to work hard for average grades and all. So, but yeah, that would be something too. Thinking back, yeah, college and high school, those were probably I got more obsessive about it.
So that's when you kind of started seeing things,
Yeah.
like actually noticing things.
Yeah, but as a kid, I would say, like I said, I could even remember times, where we would all have our bikes, and you get obsessive about fixing up your bike and that was at either a young teenager or younger, and spending a lot of time trying to, make it perfect and trying to compete with your friends and stuff. But I could see myself getting obsessed at that, even at that age. Yeah.
Did you ever, I guess, see anyone during those times about these problems, or is it something you kind of ignored?
Just kind of ignored.
Until you kind of realized maybe there's something going on.
Yeah, I just thought that's the way everybody was in a sense, and